The beat of MK, this is MKFM, so we're live here at the Civic offices here in Milton Keynes for our final election debate for Milton Keynes South. So tonight we're joined by all the political parties apart from the Liberal Democrats. Lisa Smith couldn't make it this evening, so we've got someone here from Conservatives, Labour, UKIP, the Green Party and the Independents as well. Tonight's broadcasting is in association with the MK News. Okay, so what we're going to do first of all is just to get everyone on the panel to just give a brief introduction, just to basically say their name, what party they're representing, and where they live in Milton Keynes. So we'll start with...
Yeah, I'm Stephen Fulton, I'm the Independent, and I'm living in Shenley Church End.
Okay, thank you. So they're all the candidates that are on the panel tonight, so without wasting any more time, we're going to give each party now 2 minutes to basically tell them why you should vote for them. So we're going to start with... Let's move over to Steve from the Independents.
Yeah, thanks. So this has been the case all the way during this election, that the other people on the panel here tend to articulate exactly the problem we have in Milton Keynes, and it is infrastructure, it is jobs, it is training. But we've known this for a number of years. We've known that this town has needed investment for a number of years. We've had a Conservative government, we've had Conservative MPs in this town, and I'm really disappointed that with that calibre of people, we haven't achieved things like the city deal to get the investment that we need. We have too many people on job seekers allowance. And so I asked my question, well, why is this? And again, I think this is a symptom of a broken political system. We stopped voting for people that are going to make the change for us. And we get people in that are more aligned and loyal to a party than the citizen that votes for them. And this is why I'm standing. It's to stand as the person that's going to represent Milton Keynes and fight their case and not be whipped into shape up at Westminster. I want to keep companies and headquarters here, so I think there's no shame in wanting to attract big headquarters. It stimulates small businesses, that stimulates the need for jobs, but then as Milton Keynes we have to satisfy those jobs with people that live here. Then we don't have to worry ourselves and get paranoid about people coming and taking the jobs, because we would have made the jobs here for our young, we would have given them the skills. So that's why I'm running as an independent, is so that I can be your independent voice and not beholden to any main party.
That's Steve from the Independent Party. Okay, let's tackle some individual topics now. Let's talk about money in people's pockets. Obviously, Milton Keynes has been accredited time and time again to be one of the fastest growing cities in the country. Also, unemployment very low, around 1.5%. Some major investment in the city as well. But on the other side, we've got people on 0 hours contracts. We're also one of the biggest areas for children living below the poverty line. So what we want to do now is give each candidate 90 seconds basically to say what they're going to do about this particular topic if they're elected. So we will start first of all. Let's go over then to Steve from the Independents.
Yeah, so I think you touched upon things like immigration and welfare tourism. Yeah, I think we all agree. None of us want to see this happening. I think as a country we should have the same level of strength and balls that Angela Merkel has, and in light of her achieving European Court judgment to prevent, to have no obligation to pay social benefits during the period that migrants come in, and the fact that actually within the European law, if someone arrives in a country and they don't have sufficient funds to feed their dependencies, they have no right to take benefits. I think there's a lot that's already in place in law, and there's some judgments that are coming forward that we should take advantage of. I want European companies to build their headquarters here, so I don't want us being paranoid about the EU. I want us to understand it and absolutely use it correctly in the same way as our neighbours in Germany and France do.
Okay, the MK, this is MKFM, we're coming live. Did you want to come back on that point?
Yeah, well, I haven't got cancer, but I do have an illness, and I have used cannabis oil, and it's improved my health by over 50%. I was prescribed a drug through NICE at Papworth Hospital called Pafenidom, which costs the National Health, or you, everybody here, £30,000 a year. I ditched that medication a year ago because I heard about cannabis oil, which I acquired. And my lung capacity, because it's a lung disease I've got, IPF, has improved by over 50%. To me, that is proof enough. And what I hear from you is the same old wishy-washy stories that we get from cancer research, that there's not enough evidence. Cannabis has been used as a medicine for 10,000 years.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone else like to come back? Steve from the Greens, from the Independents, sorry.
Yeah.
Greens, if you like, Steve, that's fine.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sorry, Steve, Independents, of course, just to clarify that.
I find it very, very interesting. I didn't know that was a fact. But maybe I've experienced the fact that the media can make things invisible. As an independent, apart from tonight and other couple of occasions, I'm invisible. So I think I would take what you say seriously and want to investigate it, but it brings a bigger issue to me, and that's not with this fine radio station here, but I've got a big problem with the way that the media control the information that we have. So I'm up for stopping issues being invisible.
So while we're talking about health, then let's continue with the NHS. Let's find out what the candidates plan to do with our NHS in Milton Keynes as regards as the hospital and GP surgeries. And we'll start Steve from the Independent Party.
Yeah, thanks. It's true. We need to keep the National Health Service and we need to keep it healthy. But we're not spending in the right places. We're importing paramedics at a high cost. We're importing nurses. We should be training and getting our own UK staff in these roles. We absolutely need more GPs to take the pressure off of the services. And countrywide, there's something that is probably not going to be a popular thing to say. My brother's an ambulance driver, and he and other people in that profession are very frustrated at the cronyism of in the National Health Service trusts and the top-heavy layers that are paying themselves a huge amount of money. So there's a lot of reform that we can do. There's a lot of spending in the right places that we can do in this National Health Service. With Milton Keynes, we absolutely are lagging behind in the investment, and I'm really disappointed when I hear electioneering rhetoric about the 178 million that's being promised. If someone's promising that, or alluding that this is coming and they're doing a great job, if it doesn't come, I want them to fall on their sword, because they aren't someone I want to represent me at Westminster.
As well, let's find out if there's anyone in the audience that's got a question. Okay, let's go over here. If you could just say your name, where you're from, and ask your question, please.
Yeah, hi, my name is David Beattie. I'm from Fulton Park. Told me of the parties available in this area, I should be voting Green.
Right up for that.
However, I want to vote for a winning party. So
We could win if you vote
I know,
for us.
I agree with everything you're saying. So I guess it brings me down to the two people down. I just wanted to eyeball people today and see what it was. But I really want to hear, because a little bit I've heard from Ian, it seems very much talking about almost the kind of the national point of view with regards to the health service. I want to understand, with Milton Keynes as it is now, you know, what actually are you doing about this now?
Is there anyone else from our candidates that would like to answer this? Steve from the Independents.
Yeah, just very quickly, I think it's really obvious that we have to push back. No infrastructure investment in Milton Keynes means we push back on housing. It's ludicrous. And we hear quite often about everyone knowing the problem, but we've had for the last 3 years Conservatives in here that haven't done the job, all right? So I don't want to hear about everyone knowing the problem. It's not been fixed in that time. And please, don't vote tactically, vote with something you believe in, or we will never change the system, all right? If everyone... And I know it means you're going to vote Green and not for me, but please, anyone out there, do not vote tactically. You won't make any change by voting tactically in the long term.
Vince. So you asked the question then, I can't take another question from you, but what do you make from the responses?
The first thing is, just picking up on the immigration part, for me, Milton Keynes needs people coming in. I love the fact it's expanding. I'm very proud to live here. So that part that isn't an issue. It's infrastructure, and I just felt, honestly, sat here as a potential, as a voter, I found yourself to be quite aloof, and I really respected the response from this side. So I've probably made up my mind. Thank you.
All right, thanks for your input. This is people have been asking questions via MK News. Let's just have one more from James.
Yeah, very simple one here from David. Yes or no, should we leave the EU?
So I think we'll go to UKIP first.
Yes.
Okay, that was Vince, thank you. Samantha from the Greens?
No.
Okay, Andrew Pates, Labour?
No.
Steve from Independents?
No.
Is there anyone out in our studio this evening that would like to ask a question? We'll be going to the news at 8 o'clock, so we've literally just got a few minutes to sneak in another question. Okay, again, if you could just say your name, where you're from, and ask your question, please.
Hilary Bowman, Campbell Park. When the election started, I was looking for the climate change aspect for all the parties, and one that everybody's policy is for getting us to what we pledged to do, which is 80% reduction in our carbon emissions by 2050.
Ian, let's move over to Steve then from the Independent Party.
Yes, I think for me the way you fix climate change is actually to make it relevant and impacting on the individual. And the best way to do that is to put initiatives in place that save people money, that reduce their use of power that isn't green. So I've said this before, I'm amazed that with the quantity of new build houses that we have here in Milton Keynes, that every house doesn't have solar panels and ground source heating. There's stuff that can be designed in right at the beginning, and that you make sense. So there's some simple things that we can do, and if it's personally impacting and beneficial, then you get the ultimate achievement of positive impact on climate change.
So in the second part then, let's kick off rather with education. Current situation is that we have got new schools being built, schools being extended, but again many parents just can't get their kids into the nearest school or their first choice of schools. So again, let's give all the candidates 60 seconds to let us know what they're going to do about education in Milton Keynes. Just a reminder that Liberal Democrats couldn't be with us this night. Tonight, Lisa Smith sends her apologies. Then to Steve from the Independents.
Yeah, so that subject dear to my heart. I'm a governor of an outstanding school, and there's actually some incredible quality going on in Milton Keynes. We have some outstanding teaching schools. We do suffer from great overcrowding. Andrew's absolutely right. The schools were never built for the size of population, and I've seen collisions between local authorities trying to expand schools and coming a cropper with planning. It's just not the way to do it, and it comes full circle to investment. We cannot grow on the cheap. We have got to fight tooth and nail to get the proper investment to get these schools running in Milton Keynes with the right quantity of places. We have got the quality, we need the investment.
Okay, we have another question here from an MK News reader. The question is, as we heard earlier this month, the council won't be financially supporting the YMCA homeless hostel after this year. What do you think your party can do to help with the homelessness problem that Milton Keynes is currently facing?
So we're 60 seconds again. We can move over to Steve then for the Independents.
Yeah, so it's a real serious problem. I was waiting in the reception at YMCA to chat to some of the people in there, and there was a constant cycle of like youngsters that have to turn up to see if there was a place available, and when there wasn't, they were just sleeping out on the streets, which is absolutely disgraceful in a growing town like this, where we're proud of our growth and our community. So at a Milton Keynes level, we actually have to get our arms around this at a local level and deal with it now. This isn't a long-term strategic thing. It's not going to be fixed by increasing the housing supply. These are people in need right now, and they're at the bottom of the employment chain, and we've got to deal with it locally.
Okay, I'm going to take a question from the studio audience. I must say that if you're from a political party, you can't actually ask a question, so you need to be a genuine member of the audience. So over to you.
I found it a little worrying that when the question of costs are are considered for various benefits, that the foreign aid would be completely eliminated or cancelled by the UKIP party. Now that is very, very worrying in a sense that, I mean, has the party taken into consideration that there will be repercussions of that? You may have additional costs by people who are in difficult situations in other countries who will come into this country, and to bear in mind especially about the people who have lost their lives trying to cross from Libya into Italy and the consequences of that.
Sorry, sir, I should have asked your name. If you just say your name and where you're from.
Fazal Kunka from Milton Keynes, Connemara. Okay,
fantastic. And who would you like to answer that question? Everyone or someone in particular?
Well, to the UKIP representative, but I'd like the other candidates just to say something about that.
Steve from the Independent Party.
So, as a British citizen, I'm really proud that we are part of a world community and that we do go out and look to support where it's needed. And there's a very practical sense in fixing the problem at source rather than letting the problem come to you. So you don't even have to be a tree hugger to respect the fact that being good to people sometimes means they're good to you. And I think aid should be to help people get back on their feet, whether it's our welfare aid in our country or whether it's in the world community, so that they can then be more capable of helping themselves and fighting against their own problems if they under in a tyrannical regime. So, I'm for keeping our aid. And it's not through any soft reason. I think I'm proud that we do it, and it makes sense.
Let's just spend a minute or so then talking about the policies then for transport and also to bring rural areas into that. Obviously, people that live in the rural communities do struggle from time to time to find a bus route, and also they need to spend additional money on fuel. So let's find out about the policies then for transport in cooperation with rural areas. So let's go to Steve from the Independent Party.
Yeah, so I agree with a lot of what Samantha said, but I think it's even simpler than that. Yes, it's vital for people in the outlying areas, and we want to improve the transport. But let's not just tinker with it. Let's make the transport work for everyone. There's a huge amount of people that commute around Milton Keynes to stations as part of their working life. And I know personally, when I first came to Milton Keynes, I thought, fantastic, I can hop on a bus up to the station and go to work. But could I? Absolutely not. So let's not tinker with it. Let's actually make it a big policy, and if everyone is able to use this, it will work, and everyone will benefit, and we'll have a really strong, robust system.
Thank you. Steve from the Independent Party.
Should Milton Keynes lower its speed limit on the grid roads?
Steve from the Independents.
Yeah, so I think we have to respond to evidence of accidents and so on. But I think there's a lot of accidents that happen where people are driving above the limit, and if we discover that this is the case, then it's about enforcement and preventative measures. And that may be people hate it, they don't like to see them, but it may be that cameras and other mechanisms of enforcement would get people using the road to the correct speed limit in a responsible fashion.
Thank you, Steve. Is there anyone else in our audience that would like to ask a question that's not associated with a political party? So let's just make our way over. All right, so if you could just say your name, where you're from, and your question, please.
Tim Skelton from Downhead Park. On May the 7th, the electors of both constituencies will be asked to vote in the referendum on the neighbourhood plan for Central Milton Keynes. What do the candidates think of the plan, and will they be supporting it?
Steve, for the Independents.
Yeah, I've looked at the plan, and it certainly makes sense. But I do agree with the other comments. I didn't know about the referendum until it was upon me. And when I went to find the material, there was good quality material, and it explained it perfectly. So I do think we've got a problem with information getting out there to people in advance. If a lot of people only know about this when they've been informed about an election and a referendum, then they're not really being informed. But yes, the plan looks good and I'll vote for it.
Find out now about your policies for local policing. Let's move over to Steve from the Independents.
Yeah, so everyone worries about lack of policing and underfunding for sure. And I always worry about the security of our wonderful redways, which are a fantastic asset to the city. And much as it displeases me, I would be in favour of more monitoring of the redways, even if it comes to cameras, even if it comes to more mobile units that can get around the redways to make people feel that little bit more comfortable and know that someone is looking out for them. So yes, there's a general policing thing that we absolutely need, but I do think that we've got a fantastic asset in these redways, and I would like my family, when they're out, when they're walking, when they're on their bikes, to feel that actually there's someone out there that's watching out for them, and that the bad guys will have to think twice.
Thank you, Steve.
I'll bring it back to Milton Keynes. My upset isn't with Ian, other than the fact that as a Conservative, he's been whipped by his main party. He's had this tenure, and that this has been his job. And the reason I'm sitting here is because the job hasn't been done well enough for Milton Keynes. We don't have the city deal that was alluded to come and save us in 2013. Cambridge, Oxford, Thames Valley, they have it. We don't. Our apprenticeship numbers are falling. The small businesses need motivation and incentivising so we can get our jobs back up. So I'm less upset about the big Conservative arguments that's going on with Labour and the Greens. I'm more upset about the local issues and how to make a difference. When I'm voting, I'm not going to vote for someone that's going to be whipped. I want someone that's going to do my bidding and not the party's bidding.
Thank you, let's move over to Steve then from the Independents.
Yes, I think when all the election rhetoric and promises are over, you have to think about what are you going to be left with. And what I want to be left with is someone that actually puts my constituency beyond a party, that is going to make a commitment to the policies that Milton Keynes want, not the policies that the party want, and make a commitment to make it easy for his constituents to fire him if he's not doing a good job, whatever way you want to describe it, recall or whatever. That's true accountability. And I'm asking people, get away from this tactical voting. You will never change this system that we have that relies on MPs being whipped if all you do is tactically vote. Change it now, and you'll find in 5 years' time that the political landscape will be the one that you're going to enjoy. On policy, look, Milton Keynes needs investment, it needs businesses. We have to listen to the companies that we want to stay here, and we have to listen to their reasons. And if their reasons, part of their reasons are strong ones about being in the EU, then let's look at that and take it seriously. Absolutely, we need to control the way that we function in the EU, but let's take a little bit of a lead out of Angela Merkel's book, who's resolute and works hard for her country and goes and gets European laws working for her so that she doesn't have a welfare state that's being abused.
Okay, thank you. And finally, Ian Stewart from the Conservative Party on our website. So I'd like to thank everyone tonight for joining us. Andrew from Labour, Samantha from the Greens, Vince from UKIP, Steve from the Independents, and Ian, of course, from the Conservatives. That's it. Let's have a big round of applause. Thank you very much.